Mic test, mic test. Checking out a product for potentially for use in my next campaign, Song of Saltmarsh. Hopefully my mic is not too loud. I haven't streamed in a while, so if I'm coming in choppy or anything like that, let me know ASAP if anyone pops in and is watching. Today I'm checking out Codex Fantasia, Dominus Duodecim, I think. It's an anime inspired thing for like video games, JRPGs, tropes, all that stuff. I think it's actually briefly mentioned, yep, right here. I won't read out stuff like this, but I'll be reviewing some of the subclasses, spells, options the book provides, and see if I want to include them in my Saltmarsh campaign that's coming up, which is inspired by Sea of Stars, Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, and stuff like that. All right, cool. Hopefully the music's not too loud too. So let's see, does it have a... Yeah, there we go, table of contents. So looking at the table of contents, we're going to have subclasses, which is expected as player options, spells, feats, and then maneuvers. I wonder what maneuvers are. I don't know if that's just Battlemaster maneuvers, or if it's just a different concept entirely. We'll see. Half of my players already have concepts, but I have another campaign on Wednesday I plan to launch that it doesn't really have too many players yet, so they'll have time to choose characters. But if this is approved, I wonder if any of the players for Sunday will switch to a subclass in this game, in this book. So far the layout is just so smooth. It looks like a Persona game. The 12 subclasses. So one for each core one, so Artificer is probably not included. The Rule Breaker Barbarian. So it's interesting seeing this bard looking artwork for Barbarian, but let's see what it's all about. So they kick reality to the curb, going beyond the impossible. That is a Gurren Lagann reference, which is cool to see. I guess right out the gate, they're coming in hard. So they're barbarians who walk the path of the rule-breaking warmth, the world to their whims and sheer force of will. For them, rage is not a matter of raw fury, but a trance state that bridges desire and reality. Rule-breakers live life off the beaten path, rejecting expectations and norms, and marching to the beat of their own drum. Free-spirited and independent, they often find careers of creatives and performers where they can make a living actualizing their unique visions. Okay. I don't know if I'll read all of these kind of mini sections. And I also don't know how much time I have. But I'll definitely skim through some of this. Alright, so looking at the Barbarian again, definitely an interesting take on them. But let's see what they've kind of get. Reality Breaker. At 3rd level, your rage gains you the power to reshape reality to your whim. When you enter rage, you can cast a spell from any spell list for spell level lower than half your proficiency bonus rounded up. So at level 1, your proficiency bonus is 3. So at 3rd level, when you get this, you'll be able to cast a 2nd level spell. Any 2nd level spell. Well, there's restrictions as followed. It has to be 1 action or 1 bonus action. Which is interesting because it doesn't have a length, so that can be a concentration spell, which can make it quite powerful. I cannot have any costly material components, so you'll never be able to use this for something like Revivify. The spell is cast as though you had spent a spell level with a level equal to your proficiency bonus. So you will be upcasting. So right off the bat, it'd be a second level spell, but it'd be upcasted to third level. That's pretty strong. But I mean, barbarians need a lot of love. Con is your spellcasting modifier for stuff like this. If it requires concentration, you can maintain concentration on it even if you normally cannot do so while raging, so that's an important tidbit. However, if you end your rage, your concentration on the spell also ends. Once you've cast a spell in this way, you can't do so again until you rage again. Wow. So they're not holding back at all. Because this little sentence here, especially since it's any spell, means that this is a very, very, very powerful feature. But I'm not against the idea of it, especially for a barbarian. Could be cool. Larger than life. Starting at 6th level, your fighting spirit flares beyond the body's boundaries when you rage, imbuing you with power drawn from your wildest dreams. While raging, the rage damage you deal is force damage instead of your weapon's damage type. Additionally, when you enter rage, you may choose to either increase your size by 1 size category or increase your reach by 5 feet. So cool, so you get to go up to large size, or you get to have a 10-foot reach or 15. Which is really, really cool. This ability is a bit more tame. The force damage, while it's very rare to ever be resisted and less likely to be immune, once you get a magic weapon for a barbarian, typically it's just better to stick to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing anyway. So considering how overpowered Reality Breaker is, I think this is a nice, like, we'll give you a little more, but honestly, Reality Breaker is going to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger as you level up anyways, so you don't need too much. Reflective Rage. At 10th level, you're able to rage instinctually in response to danger. When an enemy that you can see attacks you or casts a spell that includes you as a target, you can use your reaction to enter rage. As part of this reaction, you can use Reality Breaker. You cast a spell for casting time with 1 reaction, provided it's of a level that you can cast, which is almost guaranteed because there's not a lot of high-level reaction spells. There are some, but there's not a lot of high-level reaction spells. So this is going to be your Absorb Elements if you just got hit by a fireball and use Reflective Rage. This is going to be Shield if you just got attacked and you're able to overcome that with your shield. This could also be a Hellish Rebuke, which would probably be a popular thing to just apply damage for free while also getting up your rage at the cost of just a reaction. Those are kind of the triple threats of reaction spells, with Shield being the most popular. Of course, if your DM uses stuff like Shriekhaven, then it's also a chance to use that one spell. I forget what it's called now. That's a reaction. Beyond the Impossible. So Song of Salt Marsh is due to end around level 12. So this is not as important for me. But let's check it out. Your willpower rewards you against even the harshest circumstances. You have advantage on your Constitution saving throw for your Relentless Rage feature, which is a feature that can keep you in your rage indefinitely unless you fail a con save, which it can get up to 20, 25, 30 DCs, so having advantage is nice. When you make a Wisdom or Charisma saving throw, you may choose to use a Con instead of your Wisdom or Charisma modifier. Okay, that's really strong too. But for 14th level, who cares? Casters are at 8th level spells at this point. 1 level away. 1 or 2, I think it might be 16, where they're going to get 9th level spells. So whip-de-doo. You're really good at resisting certain spells. Good. You're going to be dealing with threats that are not going to be fun to deal with. So you're prepared to deal with them. It's really cool. I think that Reality Breaker might be a bit much, but I do like the concept, and I'm really all for, if we're gonna make something overpowered, it needs to be the martial characters. It cannot be the casters, because they're already inherently very powerful, very broken, especially in the later stages of the game. But as early as 5th or 6th level, they can overcome the majority of kind of mundane obstacles. But yeah, but it's really cool. So this is the reality. This is the rule breaker barbarian who breaks reality. There we go. I'm going to grab a cup of water, but I'll leave you over the subclass features if you're just getting in and want to kind of check out what this does. Again, reality breaker is extremely powerful, but barbarians need love, so. All right, let's keep moving. College of Influence. All right, the plot armor checks out. So far, so good. Bards of the College of Influence use magic to project their appeal to large audiences, elevating even the most mundane actions to heartfelt performances, known as influencers. Oh lord. These bards are often eager to embark on adventures, knowing that if they make it out on the other side, they'll have a hell of a story to tell. So we've got influencers, which is the College of Influence, so it makes sense. So let's see what the Bard College of Influence gets. Do they have an option to live stream? That'd be hilarious. Call out. At 3rd level, you learn how to single out a target for punishment with a few well-chosen words. You learn Vicious Mockery as a bonus cantrip. If you already know Vicious Mockery, you may choose to learn another cantrip from the Bard spell list. When a target fails its save against your Vicious Mockery, you may add your Charisma modifier to the damage. At first, I thought it was going to say you can use it as a bonus action, but it's just a bonus cantrip. I guess it's nice. This is kind of the damage cantrip for Bards, which some people think is a little lackluster, but adding your Charisma modifier for that really will make it very, very useful. And then, of course, you know, the disadvantage on the next attack, etc. But it doesn't always feel good to roll a d4 damage against somebody, or even a 2d4 at 5th level. Cloud Judgment. That went real extreme, from calling someone out to the Cloud Judgment. I wonder if it's supposed to be misspelled, or if that's just a typo. At 3rd level, oh, this is also at 3rd level, okay. You become adept at drawing attention away from inconvenient details. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of you who can hear you makes a wisdom save, charisma, or intelligence check, you may expend one use of your bardic inspiration as a reaction to roll a bardic inspiration die and subtract the number rolled from the result. So, like, if they're trying to find your rogue making a perception check, you can use your bardic inspiration to reduce their roll. It's important that it says a check. At first I had accidentally said save, because if it's a saving throw, which is more common, this would be very, very good. It's still nice though. You can choose to use this feature after the creature rolls, before the DM determines success. So it's mostly for checks, which are less frequent in combat. But if you guys are doing a heist or a mission like that, this could be very useful. At 11th level, you can use this feature as a bonus action. And in fact, the number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus within 60 feet. Creature made a charm in this fact. Cool, yada yada yada. Nothing crazy for the Bard. Compared to what we just saw with the Barbarian, I was worried that we were going to get a product that was overtuned, but this is pretty tame for the caster class. And flavorful. Set the scene. At 6th level, your magic subtly influences the dynamics of a social situation to create opportunities out of thin air. While you're concentrating on an enchantment or illusion spell at 1st level or higher, you have advantage on charisma checks. I thought it was going to say on concentration checks, but it just flipped the script and was like, yeah, you're just super charismatic while you're concentrating. So apparently you're ultra sexy or just visually apparent when you're concentrating on spells. Well, that's pretty cool. The College of Influence seems pretty fun. I don't know if it's more appealing than some of the stuff you get in things like Tasha's, which are pretty overtuned, but we'll see. This product also came out before Tasha's drop, so there may be some type of overlap or similar abilities. I noticed that earlier when I was looking at some of the material. Fourteenth level, your influence over others becomes near absolute. When you cast a spell first level higher that inflicts psychic damage on a humanoid, and that damage would reduce its hit points to 0, you can choose to deal no damage and instead charm the target. That's pretty nice. Especially, there's no restriction on CR. Let me see. In the next minute, the charmed humanoid, such a humanoid, reacts favorably to you and does its best to obey you. You can literally, in a boss encounter, there's no restrictions, it looks like. Just charm a boss, no save. Of course, you need to have defeated them with this blow, but still. You can even command it to do stuff. Wow. Imagine you're fighting the boss, you reduce him to 0 hit points with this. You take control of him, basically. You have him cast spells, him do his stuff. The boss music all of a sudden becomes your music. It's pretty cool. Okay. A little worried. The first guy was pretty damn strong. The second person's pretty damn tame. So, there we go. The duality. Maybe it's going to be OP, average. OP, average. We'll see. The cleric, iconoclast. Instead of devoting themselves to a god or some divine purpose, iconoclasts, which I'm probably butchering that word, I don't even know what that word really means, are dedicated to dismantling oppressive belief systems and institutions. Cool. If you guys want this stuff, you can kind of look over it more. I'm just gonna kind of get what's important in the flavor and then move on to what it means for us mechanically. Which most players only care about the mechanics anyways. Bane. Protection from evil and good, pacify a trace, shatter, counterspell, dispel magic, banishment, wall of fire. These are really great domain spells. None of them are weak. People typically choose Bless over Bane, but it's just getting it as a domain spell is nice, because you're still going to have Bless anyways. Pass it out a trace, pretty good, which it makes sense. Like, you know, the iconoclast is like sneaking into events, government facilities, and then all of a sudden they're just popping up out of nowhere, throwing their hands up, defy, defy, defy. Crap like that. Sense Divinity. At first level, you gain the ability to sense traces of power in your surroundings. As an action, you can focus your senses on detecting traces of power in your surroundings. The next minute, you gain the benefits of the Detect Magic spell. In addition, you can use an action to tell whether a creature within the spell's range has the ability to cast spells from the Cleric spell or Paladin list, is a Celestial or a Fiend. Pretty cool. Wisdom mod uses Long Rest. Relentless Rebuke. You can use your channel divinity to rebuke an enemy, striking fear into its heart. As an action, you can force a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, it becomes frightened of you for a minute. In addition, its ability to cast spells is hampered. Next time the creature attempts to cast a spell for casting time of one action, it must make a wisdom saving throw. Spellcaster who casts a spell for the cleric or paladin spell list, celestial and fiends have disadvantage on this save. On a failed save, that spell only completes casting at the start of the creature's next turn. So it doesn't completely take casters out of the equation, but it severely weakens them, assuming it meets the initial condition and fails. That's pretty potent to shut down casters. This could make a really awful enemy. By just dropping down this iconoclast against a party, which is almost guaranteed to have spellcasters, whereas a fight, it's very rare to have spellcasters. It's like, you know, every 2 out of 10 fights may have some casters mixed in. And that could just be my style. There could be DMs out there that always include casters in every single fight, but I just know that inherently it's less common. Subvert authority. This is the uprise. At 6th level, not 6th level, you become skilled at turning the power that others seek to exert over you to your own. Whenever you cast counterspell or dispel magic, but your domain spell gives you both of those very potent spells. Spend your channel divinity to gain advantage on the ability check to determine whether your spell succeeds. If your spell succeeds, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your wisdom modifier, which is just kind of the cherry on top. This is really great. Being able to guarantee shut down higher level spells is free real estate. Your opponent casts a 5th level spell, you use a 3rd level counter spell, you got to make your check, you've got advantage on it. Your opponent has high level magic that they have upped ready, you can cast your dispel magic and have advantage on the check to dispel it. If you succeed, not only did you just thwart your enemy, which is extremely favorable for you, you're also getting a tiny bit of wisdom, which is going to be between 1 to 5, which more than likely will be 3 or 4. By 6th level, and more later. Potent spellcasting. Every single cleric gets this at 8th level. This one or the other one, I forget what it's called. One that adds damage to your cantrips, and the other one that adds damage to your attacks. Nothing special, we could typically just gloss over that. I wonder if cleric should have gotten an 8th level feature at all. This seems like something that should have just gone into the class. With probably just a choice, like you can do this or this at this level, but once you make the choice, it's permanent. Because no cleric ever gets a unique feature at 8th level. I've seen it happen in homebrews, but that's just failure to realize the structure, the scaffolding for the cleric. Song is this is nice. So this is Xenoblade Chronicles Satori Marsh. Okay. Take a note for that. I might have to use that in my new campaign coming up. I'll leave you guys on this for a moment to review Deny Power, but it's at 17th level, so I'm not really concerned about what that does. Back. Let's move down the list. Circle of the Streets. I'll give you a few moments to read this. For some reason read things a lot faster in my mind, so I'm going to review it myself and you guys can look at it. I don't read stuff faster in my head. No, honestly, my son came up to me, so I was helping him with something. Okay, so this is literally a druid that's for the streets. About some memes. You for the streets. Street magic. This is really cool because almost every anime has like that street rat kid or the orphan, or I mean, hell, half the main characters are orphans, or in some capacity lost their parents. Second level, draw power from your connection with the city and its urban pulse, granting you access to new spells. You learn prestidigitation. That's a little bit of a tongue twister at times. At certain levels, you gain access to the spells listed for that level in the circle of streets. Okay, so this is just your chart for leveling. Comprehend languages, create or destroy water, phantom steed, tiny hut, faithful hound, locate creature, pass wall, teleport bound. So you're able to like make your little... All this seems very thematically appropriate. I know a guy. This is a very popular house rule. Label this. I wonder if this is just... I'd imagine it has to be a play on that. I wonder if it's stronger since it's a subclass feature though, instead of just a rule anyone could use. You gain the ability to call in your contacts to assist you. As an action, you can expend one use of your wild shape feature to summon an ally, a humanoid of challenge rating half or lower. He appears in an unoccupied space within 30 feet of you. Wow. The humanoid summoned this way is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. At 5th level, you can summon a humanoid of challenge rating 1 or lower. At 8th level, challenge rating 2. Pretty cool. A few humanoid stat blocks like a guard or similar. Even a berserker later on. But never even a knight, which isn't that impressive. Let's see what it does though. I mean, it's nice because it's just a summon, right? It's not even a spell, so it can't be countered. And you can do short rest. I mean, wild shape is short rest feature, so. Which, unless you're immune druid, like you don't really get good shape forms. In combat, your ally shares your initiative count, but takes their turns immediately after yours. The only action they take on their turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action, yada yada yada, typical stuff. Your ally assists you for 1 hour, until it is reduced to 0 hit points, until you use this feature again. Okay, cool. So, you can have this up until you complete your next short rest if you summon at the beginning, help you watch, stand as guard. You're going to get back your shape, your wild shape anyways. It going away at 0, whatever. To use the feature again makes sense. So you can't have multiple. Cool. This is typical caster summoned guidelines rules. Rain and refreshment. You can call forth healing waters to soothe your allies' pains. When you cast create or destroy water, any friendly creature that drinks or touches the water you create regains 1 hit point. It has advantage on the next saving throw against poison and disease. A creature can't benefit from this more than once from a single casting of create or destroy water. Additionally, when you cast create or destroy water to create rain, the rain disperses fogs and gases, including any created by magical means of a level lower than at which you cast, create, or destroy water. So it's pretty cool. You can use this to cast away the traditional fog spells, or even some of the more poisonous ones, which their names, I can't think of them right now. This can do a lot of heavy lifting. And since it's only 1 hit point, which people might be like, oh, it's nothing. It's when any friendly creature that drinks or touches the water gains hit points. So you can pour this on the bodies of your down allies. And when it rains, it pours, so it makes sense. Swift Shelter. Okay, let's see here. At 10th level, you can quickly find safe places. Take shelter. When you cast Tiny Hut, you can make shorten the cast time to 1 action. What's that? So I don't use Tiny Hut in my games because it's like a press button win game kind of spell for resting. And then people are like, oh, but you can counter it actually. Yeah, but then the players won't have fun. Once you do it more than once or twice, then it just becomes a thing that removes fun from the game. It's like, oh, you countered my Tiny Hut. Which is the only way for the spell to even be remotely balanced, since you don't ever even use spell slots typically to use it. So I just removed it from the game. This way we never have those short feelings, or that let's spam our stuff, press this thing, win game. And people will tell you, well, there's all this and this and this and this. If a spell requires a GM to go out of his way to work around it, the spell probably just needs to be revisited or removed. Which is honestly a lot of spells in 5e, but this is one that's more direct. So unfortunately, I won't get a lot of use out of this. But I'd be okay if someone wanted to play this, giving them a revised version of the spell. Just so that they're getting use out of what's directly being handed to the subclass. And I do think otherwise the subclass is pretty cool. The mass rapid transit. Okay. Traverse the city is unparalleled. Within the city or other urban area, yada yada yada, teleport, friendly creatures. As if you count the teleport spell, which is a global spell, honestly. So you're literally a train for your friends, or an Uber for your friends, or a mount for your friends. You can be like, hey, you guys want to go to that cafe that's on the other side of the town? Yeah. And not to mention, you can do this a number of times with your wisdom modifier. So you can just literally fast travel, which is so cool. Sure, sometimes the DM will hand wave it, but let's just say there's an encounter between your inn and the place you're trying to go to pick up your quest, to go magic item shopping, to talk to an NPC that lives in a house in the village that you've been in for a while. You pretty much press this button and not even know that you just circumvented like the ambush I have outside your inn, the conflict that's going to be between you and the destination you're going to, or any scenes that have been set up. No, you're just, all right, guys, let's all meet me in my room. We're gonna teleport to where we gotta go. And in the fiction, that can look like a train picking you guys up or anything else, which is a lot of fun with this spell. I really like this feature. I understand it being 14th level, but I would not have minded it being 10th level either. Minded instead of minded it. Minded. No, mind if it was. Okay. Minded if it was. English. The most basic, most easiest, and hardest language to master simultaneously. The fighter. Courier. Couriers are peerless masters of urban mobility, soaring over the city's skyline with cords of steel and sinew. What is that word? All right, let's continue. I have a feeling I know where this is going. Look at the grappling hooks and the fist. I'm probably gonna like this, but I just like fighters in general, so I'm biased. Whiplash. At 3rd level, you gain the ability to use grappling hooks to sling yourself around the battlefield. As a bonus action, you can tether yourself to an object or structure within 20 feet, then pivot yourself to an unoccupied space within 20 feet of that point. Wow. This object or structure must have a solid surface and must be capable of supporting your weight. This movement doesn't count towards your normal movement for the round, doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Whenever your proficiency bonus increases by 1, the range of this increases by 5 feet. You also gain a climb speed equal to your walking speed. This is so crazy. But you know what? It's all you get at 3rd level. It's very cool, but it just made you the most mobile character in the game. You shoot at point 20 feet, you can jump to another point within 20 feet. That is a 40 feet if you're maximizing it distance. That doesn't account for your speed, doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Hello, Attack on Titan, and a whole bunch of other animes that have grappling hook characters in it. What's up? Welcome to the stream, Fisher. Looking at material, I'm thinking about using it in Salt Marsh because it's an anime product. I purchased this on Dungeon Master's Guide for $7. And it looks pretty cool so far. Some of the stuff is a little strong, but it's also pretty nice. So yeah, grappling hook fighter with tons of mobility. And I actually really just love this so much. All right, anyways, let's see if it keeps up the hype it's got so far. I may just kind of gloss over some of this, but we'll see. At 7th level, you learn how to use gravity and momentum as additional weapons in your arsenal. When you fall, you can use your Whiplash feature as a reaction to tether yourself to an object or structure in a space above you. So it's important. You can't use creatures and stuff. You can't attach to a giant snack and stuff. I'd probably rule of cool it, but let's see here. Oh, it does actually. I wonder why I didn't include that when it mentions it, but it's saying in general, I suppose you can do creatures now. Yeah, yeah. You weren't here at the start, but when I was looking at it, I was like, dude, this looks like it was ripped straight out of Persona, which is so true. I'll just go through it like real quick. The designer, the designer knows what he was doing, and I really love it. I wouldn't mind designing a source book for anything similar. Like, look at these panels. This is straight out of Persona. Keep for the streets. All right. So this is cool. This lets you kind of like you're falling and stuff attached to creatures, objects, surfaces, move around. This is fulfilling that Attack on Titan fantasy very strong. The subclasses so far are all very cool. Some of them might need some minor tweaking. I think the Barbarians third level features may be too strong, but Barbarians again need love, so. If the creatures your size are small, you can contest it. This is pretty much the rules for grappling, so I won't get into it too much. Your choice of athletics, your choice of athletics or acrobatics. And you can pull a creature towards you. This is really awesome. Whiplash, slingshot, pretty cool. Oh, this also holds down your feature because you can't whiplash again while you have a creature like this. But that makes sense because if you can grapple a creature 20 feet away from you, by the way, it's almost broken because if they're melee combatants, they're just out of the fight. Yeah, it's kind of traditional for each class and homebrew products to do one for each class. Now it's 12, which means Artificer is not in here because that was the 13th class added later. But I should note this product came out 4 years ago, so Tasha didn't drop yet, though I think Ebron might have dropped or was on the horizon by then. They have some newer products here too. Let me see. This looks like they ever added one later. Alright, let's look at some more of this stuff. Yeah, Cloudy's planning on playing a Shogun our drop on our server, which I don't know if he'd love this enough to switch, but I mean this would definitely appeal to his anime fanboy side. So it's possible. But the Shogun does as well. And it'll be cool to see the Shogun in action. But if this does get approved, I don't care if the player switches to it. Sunday kind of jumped the gun because I wanted to see the group we were going to have because that campaign's ending soon. But Wednesday we'll have more time to decide what they want to do. Alright, so Zipline. Which, by the way, loving all the titles to the features, loving the concepts to the features, the Easter eggs, like the Barbarian references that you're unlocking. So you can use an action to set up a zipline that bridges 2 points in a straight line, allowing you and your allies to traverse great distances at speed. Your zipline has a maximum range in feet equal to 10 times your proficiency bonus. So you get this at 10th level. Your proficiency bonus is 4, so this is 40 feet. And of course it improves. One end of the zipline must be anchored to an object or structure in a space or space adjacent to you, and the other must be anchored to an object or structure within your maximum range. So wall to wall, all that good stuff. A friendly creature can move from one end of the zipline to the other using 5 feet of movement regardless of elevation. So you can literally zip down all the way up, or up all the way down, or straight. The gravity doesn't matter. You can have only one zipline active at a time, and you can reel in a deployed zipline using a bonus action. Feature equal to your proficiency bonus, which is cool that they jumped on this because I've used this in some of my products, but this wasn't a thing until Tasha's came out, where more stuff started leaning on proficiency bonus. All when you get a straight, all long runs. Zipline's just awesome. You want to set up a heist scene. You want to set up. There's a room full of zombies that you don't feel like fighting through, but half your party doesn't have the means to circumvent the encounter, and it's a team effort, so you don't leave your party like, all right, well, guys, I don't need to fight this, so you deal with it. No, we just end up all fighting it. Now, guys, there's a room full of zombies. I'm gonna set up my zip line, shoot it across the room. Let's all zip line across. Really cool moment that I would absolutely attempt to set up as a DM hopefully players catch it. Because I don't typically tell players like, hey man, why don't you do this? No, that's for you to figure out, right? So you can zip line across a whole room of enemies. Or let's say that you're doing a heist. You need to slide into a facility, set up your zip line, everyone kind of quietly zips in, and that's really cool too. I'd probably give you a group check at advantage for stealth and stuff. There's a lot of visuals that I like with the zip line. How it can be deployed in combat at times may be strong, hit run shenanigans. I hit the guy, zip line away. But then there's that balance where the DM needs to step in too. It would be cool if it happens a few times, but it could be easy to abuse. Most enemies have 30 feet movement. Using the zip line to attack and then zip away could be a potential problematic feature. But I'm willing to work with whoever likes this material, understanding that we will play some things at ear. Dynamic maneuver. Your unorthodox movements confound enemies, letting you run circles around them with ease. When you use your Whip Blast feature, you gain the benefit of the dodge action till the start of your next turn. That's insane. If it wasn't 15th level, I'd say it's broken. But at 15th level, your casters have 8th level spells. They're 1 level away from 9th level spells. So what? But it does pretty much mean, unless you have something to do with your bonus action, because that's what Whiplash is, you can permanently dodge, which is super powerful mechanic. But it's 15th level, so who cares? Lockdown. Which, by the way, you got like your double action surges and other stuff like coming up or ready. That's pretty cool. At 8th level lockdown, you know just what you do with enemies you've snared. Once each you determine you hit a creature that is prone to grapple with a weapon, you may deal additional damage equal to your fighter level. So that's straight up 18 damage once a turn. Maxing out at 20 at 20th level. Unless you've multi-class. Then you probably either don't get the feature at all, or you just get that 18, which is a shit ton of damage. Dude, imagine shooting onto the giant's neck with your Whiplash, shooting in, slicing the back of the neck for like 40 damage. The Courier is awesome. I would absolutely be open to someone playing the Courier. But of course, I want to make sure I approve the entire product. I don't want to... It annoys me when I have to put a product on the server and I'm like, this is allowed, this isn't. This is allowed, this isn't. Because I felt like that with Monsters of the Multiverse, which I recently picked up. But then I didn't feel like the hassle of writing out what's usable and what's not. So for me, it's a lot of times it's like, will I just use the product? And if I do I need to make dramatic changes to it? Because that usually will turn me away from allowing it. Okay, the thighs don't lie. This is the plot needed to succeed in anime is here. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, it's also annoying to have to answer the same question 20 times. Even if I set up a fact, which I had done on my old server by pinning some stuff, people don't check the pins. Yeah, I already did the druid, but I'll go back to it. It's a street druid. It needs some adjusting because we don't use Tiny Hut, and some of the features are tied to Tiny Hut. But it does have a really cool use of Create or Destroy Water. And my favorite feature it has is its fast travel, which I kind of wish was 10th level. But I'll sit on this page for a moment, and I'll refill my water, and you can read over this page. And then I'll go to the next page when I come back. Yeah, just consider it's post Tasha, so Tasha's power creep. This might not be able to compete with Tasha's subclasses, even though some of these subclasses most certainly do. They're pretty strong. All right, be right back. All right. Oh crap! I poured the water and then I didn't bring it back with me. I'll grab it in a few moments. Oh god! I took a sip, sat it down, and then walked back to my chair. Swift Shelter. So this is the one that you can just action tiny hut, bust it up real fast. Safety net. Very few things can counter it. Dispel magic being almost exclusive. And whatnot. Of course, if you're using it this way, you can't ritually use it because the minute is only if you don't do the 11 minutes. But transit, man, I love transit. It's literally you Uber or train your allies to the next destination. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, Action Tiny Hut is completely busted. But I removed Tiny Hut from the game in general because it's just a busted. It's a let's use all our resources and press this button and win game. That's what Tiny Hut is. It's press button, win game. There are advice on how it can be circumvented at times. Of course, you're not looking to circumvent your PC's abilities often. But if you need to do a lot of heavy lifting to get around a spell that rarely even uses the spell slot, then it needs to be revised or removed from the game. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed your little peek at this. I will say overall the concepts in the books are pretty freaking sweet. Yeah, Action Tiny Hut, Combat Tiny Hut is obviously not what it's meant for, but it'd be insane. Alright, looking at the plot armor, from a professional standpoint, I'm required to look at the artwork from top to bottom in great detail. One more time, for the sake of professionalism, noise. Alright, Spectre. As part of their journey towards enlightenment, monks of the way of the Spectre meditate upon the impermanence of reality. They like to use a lot of big words in this book, and in doing so learn to transcend the boundary between material and ethereal planes. Cool. So they're a specter, called Spectre. Need me to call out misaligned nipples again? Oh god, is that what we have here? Oh yeah, that's true. It's impossible to properly line these up. Maybe gravity's just in full effect. It looks like she's jumping in the air. And in order to stop her opponent from destroying her, she's opened up her defenses because of her secret technique imbued in her bikini armor. Which makes sense. Spectral Sight. At third level, you learn to see the boundary between material and ethereal. You can spend a key point as an action to see through solid objects to a range of 30 feet for 1 minute. Within this range, you have dark vision if you don't already have it. While this feature is active, you perceive objects as translucent outlines, but can see creatures normally. So, this is really crazy because you can see through the dungeon walls. 30 feet's not massive, but on a battle map, it's probably going to be the entire room. It is an ability where your DM should describe it and not just drop down vision for you, because the room itself is in outlines, kind of a trace over everything, a vague image of everything. But the creatures are seen normally, so it's okay for the GM, if you're on a VTT, to blow up the image or straight up show you the tokens he has in that room. It's a physical table, because you can see them. This is pretty crazy. It's subtle. It's only one key point, but it can be extremely effective scry work, pretty much. I like it. I don't think it's broken. I just think that it's very, very strong. But it's also the only thing you're getting from this subclass at third level. I could see someone definitely leaning into like Byakugan and Sharingan and other stuff. Like, hold on, guys, don't go in the room yet. Byakugan, oof! Looking into the room, seeing it. I'm almost curious why they didn't give him like the benefits of blind sight. Because outside of this feature, like it says, it sees through solid objects and stuff. So if you're like invisible, spectral sight doesn't help. So that's cool. Yeah, it does feel like I think Oracle was I think it was Oculus Monk I made a while back, which was designed after the Byakugan anyways. Phase shift. You become more fully attuned to the ethereal plane, giving control over your own form. You may move through a creature's space as though it was difficult terrain, and have a burrow speed equal to half your speed. You can't move through metal objects larger than yourself. Whenever you move through a hostile creature's space, you have advantage on the first attack you make against that creature. So you can like move into their body, punch them in the back of their head, and continue on outside the other side, which is cool. Obviously you can't end there, but you can just roll right through them. Reminds me of what Obito was doing in Naruto. You can end your turn, you can see, breathe. You cannot see or breathe, all that other stuff. At 13th level, you can move through metal objects larger than yourself. So you can't move through a metal facility or a door, which is strange because in our games, and more often than not, you'll be having to move through stone and wood versus metal. And there might be a metal door, but then there'll just be a stone wall probably holding it up. So that's phase shift. Special sight, phase shift for our monk. Really cool monk. Byakugan monk, pretty much, that can phase through walls and objects like the Flash. Explosion. At 11th level, whenever you move through a space occupied by a creature, you can spend 1 key point to forcibly return to the material plane. If you're within an object, you're pushed 30 feet in any direction. If you're within a creature, it takes force damage equal to your unarmed strike die. The creature must then make a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone. So, obviously this is supposed to be anime and stuff, but I literally just see, I can't unsee Neo jumping into the agent and exploding his body. I can't unsee it. Matrix is just too classic, too prominent for me to not see that. It's not a lot of damage because it's the monk's unarmed die, which at 11th level I think is a D8 or a D10. But it's cool. I'd almost want it to be twice the monk's die. But I mean, you are getting a lot of stuff with your spectral, all your class features so far are all really, really working extremely well together. Which makes sense because it's a subclass, but sometimes you have subclasses that just give you another feature that's great, but not really related to your other features. Prison of the Material. Alright, whenever you hit a creature in space, you move through with an unarmed strike. Spend 3 chi points, dex save, 10d10 force damage. Okay, so now we're getting that actual explosion. 10d10 force damage for 3 key points for every 10 points of force damage taken. You push the enemy 10 feet. Okay. 5 feet, sorry, for every 10 points. So you're pushing them probably about 15 to 20 feet. But honestly, if they took that much damage, Neo self-destruction mode activate. Yeah, I see that. Lotnir, which is Yacer on the server. If anyone doesn't know who Lotnir is, that is our boy Yacer. The one, the only, the greatest. Spoiler alert, not to butter Lotnir's biscuit, but I just love this dude so much. Anyways, yeah, this is the Spectre, or is it the sexy Spectre monk subclass? Alright, the Oath of Defiance. Which is funny because Paladins will be wearing heavy armor. So unless this class gives it something not heavy armor, of course they give us the anime skirt / thong or underwear that somehow protects them. Whatever. So it's cool. They put with the flavor text area, they threw the tenants in this section. Tenets of Defiance, Voice for the Voiceless, Truth, all that stuff. My wife is taking an exam right now. I forget what it's called. Chest exam or something very important. So she's in the other room. But let's look at what this subclass can do. So oath spells, protection from evil, shield, very powerful on a plate armor shield character, which will have 20 AC early on, armored fighting style 21 AC, shield 26, as early as 3rd level because you can't start with plate, but it's possible you can find plate So it's pretty crazy to be 3rd level and be able to get 26 armor class. Though that's more a fault with the shield spell, which is probably one of the most broken spells in 5th edition. Which on our server we've revised a bit. So very, very strong. And even if you don't have plate, you're still going to be able to get to 20 AC rather reliably with a shield. So 25 AC at 3rd level. However, it does step on the fact that you're supposed to have smite slots, not spell slots. So anything that can encourage a paladin to not use only smites and actually use spells is usually a pretty good sign. Misty Step is another one of those things that the paladin may actually want to use instead of a smite occasionally. But these are all really great spells. None of them are weak spells. All of them are pretty strong spells. Which is cool. Yeah, they have no business being 1st level spells at all. But we revised it on the server to be a set value, so it's less abusable. But it is pretty crazy that this guy at 3rd level would have a 23, 24 AC reliably with 0 effort. All right. My wife had a 10-minute break from her exam, so she was out here real briefly. I have to run a stream and make sure my kids don't run in the room, because if the kids enter the room during the chess exam, she automatically fails. Of course, the door's locked, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they're really thematic. It feels like they were like, what are the meta spells? I mean, a lot of them are mobility, Misty, Fly, Freedom. And then the other ones are very defensive in nature. So let's see what the, let's actually dig into this. Sorry, when I like tend to zone in or drown and stuff. I say that and my son beeline towards my wife's room. I had to jump out of my chair and snatch him up. You can't go in there. I feel like it's maybe a little petty, but it's one of those official major exams for colleges, and they're letting her take it at home, so there's a lot of precautions. But yes, mission accomplished. Alright, Breaker of Chains. You can use your Channel Divinity to escape the bonds that hold. As a bonus action, you can choose a creature that you see within 30 feet of you. That creature cannot be paralyzed or restrained until the beginning of your next turn. So, it's a keyword there, until the beginning of your next turn. So, of course, you could preemptively put this up on somebody, but more than likely, you're probably ending the paralyzed or restrained condition on a creature. For paralyzed, that means that you can circumvent stuff that the opponent has done to you as is intended. But for restrained, it's much more important, because if you can end the restrained condition on a target, it's possible by the time this expires, it can't be re-upped on you because you're no longer within the distance of that restraint. Usually those are physical. Very few spells are restrained. So it's possible to permanently end the restrained on you and temporarily end the paralyzed on you. It's cool. I don't know if it's Channel Divinity worthy, but it's very cool. I sense it's a bonus action, maybe. Also, I think Paladins get their Channel Divinities back on a short rest, but I can't remember. Defiant Bulwark. As an action, you channel your Defiance will into an indomitable bulwark. For 1 minute, a huge translucent frontal barrier emanates from you, blocking enemy attacks. You and your allies have half cover against attacks that pass through your space or through a space adjacent to you. Visually, I love this. It does make me return, I won't fall into the funnel again, to the fact that you're now a plate, shield, half cover character that can cast shield and get 28, 29 AC literally as early as 3rd level, which is a little bit crazy. But on my server, it's not an issue, so I still might like use the product on the server. Aura of Defiance. Starting at 7th level, you can inspire those around you to stand fast, even against the direst circumstances. As a reaction, whenever a friendly creature within 30 feet of you is reduced to 0 hit points, you may use your Lay on Hands on that creature to keep them conscious and standing. The healing is received after the damage is dealt, which is important. So it means that you're not reducing the damage. It's like after they drop to 0 or something else, you're free to heal them without it being reduced or affected in any way. Once a creature has benefited from this ability, that creature cannot benefit from it again until its long rest. So this is nice because it means every single person in your ally can get pinged for 1 lay on hands and return to their health. If you think the attack against them is not going to stop, you can just dump 30, 40 healing into them and make sure they stay in the fight. Which is pretty cool. Let's see this. I'll start bothering you on a promotion. Cool. Then I'll update this guy. Sorry, kid. I decline. Alright, sorry. A spam bot came in here. Yeah, no, I need to use Chaotica on people more often. Alright, when a friendly creature lay on hands. Alright, so that's a really cool feature. It's a very strong feature, but I like it. I'm not against strong features. I'm against broken features. And this falls into the category is very useful, very good. Definitely not broken, especially since it's once a target and you can't like use it 40 times because you have 40 lay on hands and keep pinging someone for 1 hit point for the entire battle. No, it's like, cool, you help that guy out. You can't help him out again until you rest. Let's see here. Defy fate. Your confidence and resolve allows you to defy destiny. Whenever you make an attack roll and ability check saving throw, you can spend 1 paladin spell slot to add a bonus to your roll equal to the level of the spell slot expended. You may use the ability after you roll the die. I'm not sure how good this is. Do you need to have really good reasons to expend a paladin smite slot? Using a first level spell slot to add 1 to your roll? I don't think that's going to qualify unless it is a really harsh save or suck spell. Like you're about to get paralyzed, which you have tools to. Obviously, you can't do it on yourself. I don't see this being very useful unless it's absolutely dire. Yeah, this exactly. It's very resource intensive. For a half caster. At this point, sure, they've got a lot of spell slots, but they've got half the spell slots of a higher class, and each one of those are 2d8 damage against targets. Which honestly is usually for crits, which is 48. So I'm not sure I like this. But the subclass otherwise does have a very strong rules as written. This subclass is very strong, just to the shenanigans it can get up to. So it's fine. But it might feel bad when people are getting their 8th level spells and 9th level spells soon for you to get a +1 through 5. But I can't see you wasting a 5th level spell slot versus a smite on this feature. Vanguard of Defiance. At 20th level, you become a beacon of defiance, rallying your allies to seize the moment. As an action, you gain the following. You're large. Each friendly creature cannot be paralyzed, overstrained, deal D4 more damage. Once per long rest feature. Cool. Who cares? It's 20 level. This could have been twice as powerful and I wouldn't care. This could have been 3 times as powerful and I wouldn't care. In fact, I do feel like it's kind of underpowered. But I'm not going to peel this apart right now. That's the Oath of Defiance. Kind of wish its later levels might have had legendary resistance built into it. I think that would have been a good use of Defy Fate. Like, dump a spell slot. Probably not first, maybe third. Legendary resistance. Straight up, you can't stop me. Defiance. But dumping a spell slot for 1, 2, 3, not feeling it. You don't get that feature to 5th level either. I won't take as long on other classes. I probably spent way too much time on the Paladin. But I do like the Paladin as a class in general. So. These dies and die. I say that and then I go into one of my favorite classes in the game that typically is considered underwhelming. The outlaw. Outlaws are renegades on the fringes of society, scornful of societal expectations and the edicts of authority. Nice. You want to read the rest of that? You can pause it, but I just like to read the first sentence or two. Later on, I'll read it in detail if I'm going to use it. You get Hunter's Mark for free, which is great because that's almost a guaranteed pickup. You don't have to waste your time on it. Fine Steed, Haste, Greater Invisibility, Password. Cool. That's all great. I love this is an example of a thematic spell list, which the last one was not. Hunter's Mark, you know, you're an outlaw, you're hunting stuff, and it's just the best ranger spell. Fine Steed, if you're an outlaw in this time period, you've got a horse or a modern day getaway car. Haste, you got to get away quick, disengage, all that good stuff. You can't be seen, and then Pass Wall allows you to more mobility options. Very thematic spell list. Tag, target. At third level, whenever you cast Hunter's Mark on a creature, you can also force it to make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is spattered with bright, luminescent paint. It has disadvantage on stealth checks and cannot turn invisible. When you transfer your Hunter's Mark to another creature, that creature must also make the dexterity saving throw. Really, really great. So you can't transfer Hunter's Mark until a creature is killed. So you can't spam it every turn, like I'm just going to move this around and blind people constantly, or make them like invisible, I should say. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I think it's a little underwhelming. It's extraordinarily great against stealth-heavy and invisible enemies, and then it's lackluster any other time. Yeah. I think in the situation where you're fighting those enemies, it is an invaluable, very powerful, very potent feature. When you're not fighting those things, it feels like you didn't get a subclass feature at all. I think if they had tossed in Blinded, which initially I had thought for a moment it had in there, it would be really strong at all times. Yeah, it would be insane. Though it is a dex save versus an ability that goes away at the end of your turn. Wait, does it never end actually once it fails? Let me see. There is no duration, so it's piggybacked off. So they couldn't have given Blinded. It would have been too powerful. They would have had to end your concentration at best. I would have traded a shorter duration for it to include Blinded and then just been reliable in all situations. Okay. Alright. Dark Horse. At 7th level, you can cast Fine Steed as an action, which, by the way, Dark Horse was a comic book I used to read a lot when I was young. You can find as an action instead of its normal casting. A steed conjured by you casting your Find Familiar gains a number of temporary hit points equal to your ranger level and has a bonus AC equal to your proficiency bonus. At 11th level, the speed of the steed conjured by your casting increases to 100. Okay. Just a general buff to your mount, which is nice. Mounts are going to have about 19 hit points. Take or give. So adding your level, which at this point would be 7, is nice, but it's not too much of a game changer. The AC is probably more prominent. Because your summon mounts are going to have pitiful AC. At best, maybe 15. Because your summon mounts don't have reliable access to barding. Though, Fine Steed doesn't go away when it's cast. So you could cast one, take the time to put plate on it. But if it gets killed and resummoned, it's not wearing that. The equipment would fall to the ground. So it is really nice that it adds your proficiency to AC. 11th level, write it out. At 11th level, you always have a speedy getaway for you and your allies up your sleeve. As an action, you can cast a special version of Phantom Steed. That creates a number of mounts equal to proficiency bonus once a long rest. Okay, really cool. You and all your buddies literally ride out. You're losing a fight. Maybe the alarm was raised in the heist. Maybe the enemy is just 100 feet away from you and you've got a whole bunch of melee fighters, barbarians and stuff that want to get in the fight and have to dash. Phantom Steed, ride in or ride out. Yeah, I will say so far it does. It does look like they're not considering the limitations of half casters. You want a bottle? Milk? All right, I'll leave you guys on this 15th level feature, and then I'll jump to the next subclass and get my son some milk. Cool. Don't stop me now. Let me just quickly move through this. Mounted, hostile creatures, no opportunity attacks. Okay. This literally just gets you out of any pickle. It'd be really tough for enemies to keep up with 100 movement speed, mount slash phantom steeds. So it's cool. At 15th level, whatever. Probably could be stronger. The Phantom. What's that one anime? I always forget the name of that anime. I think it was like something black. But the mask and stuff reminds me of it. It was such a good anime, yet I can't remember the name or the plot. Darker Than Black. Thank you. Lightyear comes through again. Dude, I think that anime is so good and so few people know about it. But yeah, it's definitely giving me the Darker Than Black vibes. Of course, this is also a Persona product, and they have a lot of mask in that game in general. So Persona vibes too, of course. Yes, contractors with special abilities that have to do like certain niche things to maintain and respect their powers. It was so cool. All right, what is this? Rogue, okay. Smoke and Mirrors. At third level, you learn to take your wit and charm to supernatural levels. Whenever you succeed in a contested ability check, you gain a style point. Additionally, when you deal sneak attack damage, you may give up any number of sneak attack dice. For each sneak attack dice you give up, you gain a style point. Wow. The maximum number of style points you have is equal to your charisma. Okay, thank God. Charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus. When you take a short or long rest, the number resets to 0. Okay, I was getting worried. I was like, this is super easy to farm. Like, if you're fighting minions, who cares if you're giving up sneak attack dice? You just slice them up, gain freaking 10 dice or 6 dice, 8 dice pretty fast. But there is a limit, and it's still a generous limit. Because it's your proficiency bonus alone means that you're going to get at least, at this early in the game, 2. And later on in the game, more. I don't know what style points does, but I imagine it's going to be pretty crucial. So, let's see. So this can get spells. Oh, as an action, you can spend style points to replicate spells. So that's what it does. As if you were casting them. So they still count as being cast for a purpose of counterspell and other abilities that interact with it. That's important to note. Disguise Self, Fog Cloud, Invisibility, Blind, Hypnotic Pattern, Major Image, Confusion, Compulsion, Mislead, Seeming. Super awesome thematic spells. You just get caught by the enemy, hands up, you got me, Fog Cloud rolls in. You want to enter a base, but there's 10 guards in the entrance, Flash Bomb, Hypnotic Pattern. The enemy is chasing you around the corner and you do the trope of disappearing, Invisibility. You want to be a master of disguise, Hello Twilight. Spy X Family was such a good movie. I was never here. I work here. These are great. I like this rogue subclass tremendously. Already. Let's see if it's broken. If maybe I talked too soon, but I like it a lot. However, the feature is not true spellcasting. Oh fuck! So what I just said doesn't matter. To replicate a spell, so you can't get like counterspell, I guess. To replicate a spell, you must spend a number of style points equal to that spell's level. Spells cast with this feature have a duration of 1 round, so no hypnotic pattern won't last the full duration, which is a very powerful spell, by the way. You ignore all material, somatic, verbal components, so people won't hear you cast invisibility, won't hear you cast these spells, so you won't lose your stealth, which is important as a rogue. Your spellcasting ability for these is Charisma. This is amazing. At 3rd level, when you take the dash action, you gain a climb speed equal to your walking speed. Additionally, while dashing, the maximum distance you cover when you jump increases by 5 feet for each point of your proficiency bonus. So at 3rd level, that's going to be 10 more feet. So this is the run, jump, climb, get in, get out. This is kind of what I was hoping the Ranger was going to be, but makes more sense for leading into the Phantom tropes and Rogue aesthetic. So one thing about rogues that turns people off, you get the subclass feature at 3rd level, and then you don't get nothing else until 9th level, which feels bad. So the 3rd level feature has to be so great and so amazing that you didn't only play rogue because big damage sneak attack. And I think that this subclass fulfills that. I think it's going to be very fun to cast invisibility, disguise self, and 1, it's replicating the spell, it's not the real spell. 2, people can't hear you cast it. 3, you get to do cool stuff. 4, it's balanced because your hypnotic pattern is going to sit around for a minute, and then you'll get enough points in that minute to do it again. No, it's 1 round. This might be my second favorite. My first favorite, unfortunately, I think Lotnier missed it, was the grapple hook fighter. That was so cool, Attack on Titan vibes. This is probably my second favorite that I've reviewed so far. And it's trying to become my favorite. Which is awesome. Alright, Slide of the Foot. We read that already. You get some dash and stuff. Cool. Beneath Notice. You become a master of disguise. As an action, you can cast a disguise spell self without expending a spell slot. That may sound strong to some folks, but warlocks can get that super early on. Your spellcasting ability for this is Charisma. While disguised, you can hide even if a creature can see you clearly, which is cool. Like the guy's looking right at you, and then you disappear from their sight. It's the party trick of you're at the same ballroom, the enemy spots you, someone walks in front of you. They don't even have to, but thematically, you're gone. Charisma modifier in place of your dexterity modifier for stealth. So I doubt you'll lean into Charisma so much that this will be important, but it's an option. In addition, attempts to detect you while you're disguised and hiding are made with intelligence investigation rather than wisdom. Huge. Plenty of monsters and beasts and animals have respectable wisdom checks. 95% of those monsters have garbage intelligence checks. So this is a very big buff to your hiding. You can use this feature a number of times equal to Charisma modifier and regain all expended uses. I forgot what it's called. Mask of Many Faces. There we go. Which I think is like no prerequisite. I think you just get that shit at 3rd level. But this is to compete with a lot of other great evocations. At 13th level, you may cast spells using your Smoke and Mirrors feature as a bonus action. If you cast a spell in this way, you can't cast another spell until the start of your turn. So it follows the restrictions of the bonus action spells being cantrips only, but you don't get that. And also, just as any spell, so even if you were multi-class, you wouldn't be able to cantrip still. Cool. Drop the hypnotic pattern, run past all your enemies with your dash, jump, climb on top of the building, get the fuck out of here. This is an amazing subclass. Refuge and Audacity. You have mastered the art of seizing the moment. Whenever you have disadvantage on attack roll or charisma ability check, you may spend 5 style points, which at this point in the game, you'll be capping out at a proficiency bonus of 6 plus a maximum charisma of 5 under normal circumstances, 11. So that's cool. And since your sneak attack is going to be so high, you'll be able to get almost everything you ever need to cast this after a single attack, because you're going to be rolling like 8 sneak attack dice or more at this level. I can't remember the exact number. But you'll be able to refill up insanely easy, which is cool. So spend the 5 points, who cares? It's also not just making it a flat roll, it's giving you advantage instead. Okay. Which is stuff we can handle at our personal table. I agree with the beneath notice. But I think that they definitely the concept, the thematicness supported by the mechanics, 9 out of 10. Man, I don't want it to dethrone my grapple hook fighter. I would love to play this or the grapple hook fighter. I'll be honest, guys. This is gonna come to the server in some form or fashion. Especially for Song of Saltmarsh, our JRPG Chrono Trigger Sea of Stars inspired campaign starting on Sundays. And if anyone viewing wants to get in on the Wednesday one, there's still 5 seats for that one. But we have secured our first 2 seats. As the second person has confirmed they'll be signing up soon. But Sunday, I apologize, folks. We have 11 applicants and I'm seating 7. I only wanted to seat 6, but I want to get in as many people as possible to play, so I seated the 7th. The Anarch Sorcerer. It's anarchy then. In some sorcerers, an encounter with abusive authority instills a lasting enmity that ignites and shapes a spark of magic in their souls. Love sorcerers. Get shafted by wizards. Get shafted worse by wizards and Tasha's. With the introduction of meta magic, making wizards just better sorcerers. Which they already were. So when I see sorcerers, I give them love. For example, on my server, hopefully you guys know that if you're playing on my server, you just get the meta magic feat for free as a sorcerer. Because fuck it. Do cool stuff with your meta magic. Try to keep up with wizards while you only got like 9 spells. Explosive Encore. At first level, your magic is infused with explosive passion. Also, by the way, if any of you are liking this product, while I will be providing it to the players playing in the Song of Saltmarsh, you can pick it up for $10, I think. All right. You can pick it up for $7, and it's a pretty nice source book. It's pretty cool. It was released 4 years ago, so it came out before Tasha. So there's a tiny bit of overlap in some of the features, but it's a great source. All right. So Explosive Encore. When you cast a sorcery spell, first of all, higher that targets an object or creature. Refer to the spell's description. You can use a bonus action to implant the object or creature with a bomb. An implanted bomb remains active until detonated or until you take a long rest. You can have a number of bombs equal to your charisma modifier. You can detonate a bomb as an action. Each creature within 10 feet of the bomb must make a dexterity save. On a failed save, it takes an amount of fire damage equal to your charisma modifier. Okay, this is straight up. Like, it's awesome. Do I want to support bombings? Because I think this is so cool, but it is kind of scary what it implies, since it sneaks people. People can get snuck in and stuff and blow up places. So it's a little shady in that regard. But if you notice, it says any first level spell. You can healing word someone and secretly put a freaking bomb in them as they walk into that event that you're targeting. Wow. Well, actually, no, you can't stack that, but you can cure wound somebody or similar if you have access to that kind of spells. I forget that sorcerers don't get those kind of spells too often. But you can use a non-offensive spell against an enemy. Maybe they don't know you're your enemy because they're just working the grounds and you're talking to them. And implant them with this. Charm person, tell them to go talk to their boss. Suggestion, talk to their boss. Put a bomb inside them. This is pretty crazy. Now, it's pitiful damage, I'll say, but it's just so cool that you can stealth implant bombs into people. You always seem to emerge unscathed from the devastation you wreak. Your sorcery spells and features ignore the damage thresholds of objects, and you don't take damage from your own sorcery spells. The first one's not as important because GM Fiat and other stuff hand-waves a lot of damage thresholds and objects. But I will say, for something like Song of Saltmarsh, ships, even in regular Saltmarsh, have a damage threshold, an amount of damage they ignore before they can take any damage, which for a vessel, that could be like 20 damage. This just says, hey, you're always dealing your damage to objects, which can be really cool. You don't take damage from your own sorcerer spells. So you get to literally go inside, firebomb, centering yourself, and never care. Yeah, don't kill the messengers. Sorry, kid. At 6th level, you spend number of sorcery points equal to half your sorcerer level rounded down when you create a bomb. For each spell you put in this way, the bomb does an extra d6 damage, and its radius is increased by 5. Okay, this is cool. This makes the bomb a lot more potent. I guess you can also stack bombs on one person. There's nothing that says you can't. Though a reading of stackable effects in 5th edition might just say that inherently. But this should be cool. You can make someone walk in there, dump a few spell points, and blow them up. So, confine control over your bomb. Whenever you detonate a bomb, you may choose one of the following options. So it's just one or all of them? One. Okay. The explosion only affects one target, but the damage of your fire ignores resistance. Creature that fails the dexterity saving throws also push 10 feet away. The explosion only affects objects and not creatures. Its damage is doubled. The explosion doesn't affect the detonated creature or object itself. So now you can have friendly bomb people. Send them in, load it up with the sorcery points. They're going to be saved. Rocket jump. At 14th level, when you move on your turn, you may instead propel yourself 30 feet in a straight line. If this movement pushes you more than 5 feet above the ground, you gain the benefits of feather fall till you reach the ground. If this causes you to collide with the creature, you have advantages on the first attack roll. Spend a number of sorcery points up to your proficiency bonus. For each point spent, you move an additional 30 feet. Just hella cool. Even at one point, you're getting a 60-foot rocket propellant that has the possibility of saving you from falling, because if you're falling, you can rocket jump towards the ground and just have feather fall. It also gives you advantage in your first attack. It's just a lot of tiny things wrapped into this package, which also could equate to you dumping all your sorcery points and rocketing 200 feet away from a conflict or into a conflict with bombs preloaded on you or your allies. But I think it's fine. And this is only whenever you move in your turn. You may instead propel. So there's nothing stopping you from using this feature except for whether you want to use your sorcery points. But be mindful, your sorcery points are for additional distance. So you can just spam this every turn. Just decide that you rocket jump everywhere from now on. Yeah, Focus Blast absolutely helps. Rocket Jump's cool. I think rereading it and seeing that it's just as a part of your move, the fact that you can get that 30 feet straight line every turn no matter what, and trigger an at-will casting of Featherfall now because of that, there's no resources attached, is great. With the option of adding sorcery points to increase the distance a respectable amount. The boss is in the sky, 120 feet. Grab onto one of your allies and pump 150 distance, jump on the dragon's back, continue the fight. Chain reaction. Whenever you cast a spell that affects it in the area, you detonate a bomb. You can detonate a number of other bombs within the area. Cool. It's great. Is it better than the Phantom and the Fighter? For me, no. Is it a really cool concept? Absolutely. Yeah, it is pretty low. Obviously, it gets better at Focused Blast, but it is pretty low at first. But I guess it's a free piggyback onto stuff. You could also treat it as just a small bit more damage each time. I don't know if is it a limited use? Let me see. So you can plant a number of bombs. You can do your charisma modifier. So you can stack it up a fair amount before you set it off. And when I look at it, so if you read it, it's like, if you give it a good read, obviously it's attached to when you use spell slots, but there is no other limit to how often you can do it. So you could just plant on them 3, 4, 5 bombs, and all of a sudden your charisma modifier +4 in a long battle when you finally set this off, especially after Focus Splash. I think you may be underestimating it a little bit. You can have someone take like 30, 40 damage if you keep stacking it. Or is it only one on a creature? Let me read it again. No, I don't see it. Only one per creature. Yeah, you could definitely stack blast this bad boy. Yeah. Yeah, now it seems a lot stronger when I think about a fight going a long time and having 5 bombs in their butthole. And then Focus Blast as well. The Revolution. The Revolution is a powerful Zeitgeist? Fuck you say that word, I don't know. Followed by the reification of a people's collective will to stand against oppression. I'm sure we could have used more simpler terms, but we have to be dramatic because it's anime. Viva la Revolution! Bless, Grease, Lesser, Pass, Non-Detection, Spirit Guardian, that's a big one. Freedom of Movement, Wall of Fire, Animate Objects, Pass Wall. Bless is really good. Lesser Rest is good. Pacifier Trace is good. A lot of these are very, very potent. Hear Us Roar. At first level, the voice of the people speaks through you. You learn the Thaumaturgy cantrip. If you already know it, you get a different cantrip from the Warlock's list. When you use Thaumaturgy to amplify your voice, you can choose to gain an advantage on a persuasion, performance, or intimidation check. Cool. So you just ready it up, go in there, kick the door open, and now you get your microphone. And you can scream threats, you can scream reason, you can put on a show. It's nice. Fiery Descent. Gain the ability to ignite the fires of resistance. You have a pool of d6s that you can spend to fuel these flames. The number of dice in the pool is equal to 1 plus your Warlock level. So you can get a fair amount. Pretty fast if you're not multi-classing. As an action, you can spend dice from the pool to cause an area or an unattended object to burst into flames. Each creature in that area or object that enters it or starts its turn there must make a dexterity saving throw or take fire damage according to the table below, which I assume is the table on the right side, not below. The maximum number of dice you can spend at a time is equal to your charisma modifier. You gain all expended dice in your pool when you finish a long rest. So d6, 2d6, 3, 4, and 5. So it's literally just a d6 per the number of dice you spent. So you spend 5, then it's 5d6. Well, I guess it caps at 5 because you can spend 6 and still only get 5d6. But you wouldn't do that. And then it is a 25-foot cube at that size. So you can the radius and damage of the spell increases, which is nice. It'll never be as powerful as a fireball, but it's also just another thing that you can do as a warlock without wasting your spell slots. Which they only get 2 of at this point, and even way down the line, max out I think at 4. Symbol of Resistance. Emblazing your ideals and beliefs onto the world itself, rallying the resistance around you. As an action, you create a symbol on a solid surface, such as wall of fall. The symbol covers a template square, can be a slogan, drawing, any image. Whenever a friendly creature starts to turn within 10 feet of it, gain 10 temporary hit points or add a d4 to the next attack or ability check. So it's like a soft bless, stackable bless, or a few more hit points. The magic of the symbol lasts 1 minute, after which it becomes a permanent, mundane image. So you can literally tag an entire city over time with permanent images after they expire. That can be anything that you desire. After you use this feature, you can't use it again till you complete a short or long rest. Never take me alive. Whenever you would be restrained, grappled, or incapacitated, you may use your reaction to become immune to that condition for 1 round. In addition, the hostile creature within 20 feet of you takes 5d6 force damage and must make a strength saving throw against your Warlock DC or be pushed 10 feet away from you. On a success, they take half as much damage and are not pushed. Once you use this feature, you have to wait a long rest. So it's a one-time get out of jail free card that deals respectable damage to your enemies, which looks like it is your maximum potential of your normal blast. That is force damage. Really cool. One-time use. Any of those things happening to the Warlock can put them in a very dangerous position. Especially incapacitation. Which is odd because if you're incapacitated, you don't have access to reactions. But I guess by the very nature of this feature, it's saying you can just do this anyways. Viva la revolution! Spirit burns endlessly, giving you power to sustain the movement, even in the face of death. As an action, choose a number of friendly creatures within 30 feet of you, up to your charisma modifier. Any of these creatures are dying, they regain 1 hit point. If any of these creatures died within the last minute, wow, they regain 1 hit point. Those creatures then gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your Warlock level, which if you get this feature is at least 14. Once you use the feature, you can't do it again for a long rest. The fact that it can reverse death makes this a very potent, very powerful feature. Even if it's a long rest feature. It's also your charisma mod, so it's 5 reversals of death. Oh, we get some new Warlock pack stuff. Pack of the Mask. Manifest a mask. While wearing a mask, your identity is obscured. You have advantage on deception checks. In addition, you're under the effects of the Arcanist Magic Aura spell. Wait to see the spell. Low profile. While wearing your packed mask, since all it piggybacks off of the pack, if you choose the pack, okay. You can take the hide action as a bonus action. And dim my darkness. You can use your packed mask as your arcane focus. Freeze up your hands, that's nice. While wearing your packed mask, you can cast Thru at will without expending your spell slot. Thru is a decent spell, but gets overshadowed by other charm-based spells. Otherworldly Regalia. I mean, of course, at will, that value just shoots up substantially. Otherworldly Regalia. Your mass vicious is infused with majestic and grandeur of your supernatural patron. Which, I wonder if it's really a patron or just a person you're fighting for, like a president or something. Free Vivify, yep. 5 times in a long rest. And no true action economy outside of setting it up. It's pretty good. If you're not wearing armor, you add your charisma modifier to your AC, as long as you're wearing your packed mask. So this is pretty much like mage armor with some other benefits. Ooh. You assume proficient. Finish a long rest, choose a skill, gain a skill pretty much. If you're already proficient, you can add your charisma modifier as a bonus to the check. Expertise, essentially. If you're choosing something you're proficient with. Which means you can double down on your charisma skills. So if you got +5 charisma modifier, you can double down into it with a +10 modifier to an intimidation check, for example. No, and your proficiency bonus at that point too. So it's more than that, but just raw adding your mod twice is pretty strong. I don't think it's broken. It's nice. The Informant. Right, cool. I don't know how she's gonna protect herself if she has this much clothing on. She needs less clothing and she's going to be safe. Do they want her to die? I'm just joking. Yeah, the pact is pretty cool. It fits into the theme really well. It's got damage output, utility. Yeah, I think it's cool. The Informant. Informants do not study a formal school of magic as such. Rather, through experimentations and unorthodox spellcraft, they have discovered ways to access and manipulate information that would have never occurred to other mages. Okay. Reconnaissance Expert. At second level, you add the Find Familiar spell to your spell book. If the Find Familiar spell is already in your book, you get a different one. You can dismiss and summon familiar as a bonus action instead of an action. which is great. You can do certain shenanigans and keep them safe without losing your own turn. In addition, you can see through your familiar's eyes as a bonus action rather than action. By seeing through their eyes, you can retain the benefits of any divination spells you have cast that are affecting you. So it's like a soft paladin spell transfer to their steeds and stuff. But probably better. Because everyone knows you're just going to throw this on an owl. Which means that this spell is really good. Fly speed, dark vision, all that stuff. Information conduit. You gain the ability to magically absorb information from written documents that you or your familiar are touching. So it's cool. You send in your familiar. It could be a cat or a spider if you need to go into like a house or a location that shouldn't have like birds in it. Touch a page and gather the information. Information absorbed in this way appears in your mind as though you had read it yourself. You can store this information in your spellcasting focus and transcribe any information stored in it onto a written surface by simply touching your spellcast focus to it. So you absorb it through your familiar. You then touch your wand to a page of a book and completely scribe it, provided there's enough space for the information. Oh, really cool. Oh, music stop. Video pause. Continue? Sure. That's the information conduit. Incognito. At 6th level, you're able to disguise the incantations and gestures required for spellcasting as innocuous, mundane mannerisms. When you cast a spell at 5th level or lower, you may conceal the verbal and somatic components. So this is a free casting of that one sorcerer thing, subtle spell. But technically it's better because that only removes verbal and not somatics. What somatics is your hands and stuff. You must still be able to perform those components, but they cannot be seen or heard. Additionally, any visual manifestations of that spell are invisible, except to creatures who can see invisibility or true seeing. Use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. Regain expended use when you finish a long rest. Very strong, very cool. So you can cast invisible fireballs. That's fucking crazy. I'm like reading this to make sure, but you can like cast out spells, even destructive spells, and they're invisible. Which, visually in my mind, watching that play out in a fight is pretty awesome. You just kind of twitch your head and the explosion goes off because you don't need your hands. You don't even need to twitch your hand, but now you have a lot of freedom with the roleplay. This right here is such a cool ability. Invisible Skyray. I send a message in the air. My allies cannot see it. Oh man, if this was a game, I'd have to give you inspiration. Of course, that's immediately you would think of that bullshit. Invisible Skyray. Oh my god. Invisible. Alright, remote access. 10th level, you can use information conduit on documents you see without needing to physically touch them. This includes documents seen through your familiar, through the use of divination magic. Additionally, when your familiar takes the help action to aid a friendly creature, which it should be probably doing every turn, the target can be within 30 feet of your familiar. Now this actually opens up the doors to choose more than the crappy owl. Choose all those other cool familiars out there. Have it be that cat because you think it fits your wizardy look. If you're a witch and stuff like that. Because you have that safety net of 30 feet, you don't have to rely on flyby. Though I will say in my games, I give all familiars flyby or run by if they're not a fly speed creature. Just because I like to see new things. Power projection. At 14th level, the range of your telepathic communications is 300 feet. Additionally, when you're sharing your senses, use an action to make an illusionary double of you within 30 feet of it. Which has a lot of implications for combat and other stuff that can throw people off. Your familiar must concentrate on this effect and cannot take other actions while concentrating. While the double persists, you can cast spells as though it were in its space. So you're also, wow, send your familiar 300 feet away from you, maximum of course, cast a projection of yourself, fuck shit up. Because you're now right there, able to cast spells as though you're right there. Once you use this feature, you can't do it again for a long rest. That's pretty cool. Alright, that's all the subclasses. All the subclasses my players have potentially have access to. I won't read them, but I will go to their drop pages very briefly. and give my overall thoughts on the subclasses. Bare bones thoughts. The Rule Breaker Barbarian. Exceedingly powerful third level feature, which is needed for barbarians to stay relevant in the long game, that I think is very awesome. And I like it. The College of Influence. Yes, your Instagram, OnlyFans, influencers, lol. It captures the theme well. I don't know if I'd play the subclass, but I'm sure that someone would probably love to be the pop star. What is it, J-pop or something like that? It does all that. It does all that good stuff, all that cool stuff. The Iconoclast. I liked it. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it's kind of cool that I could see through objects and other things. Oh wait, no, this isn't the object one. That's the one coming up next. Oh, actually, this is the one I didn't think was all that exciting. Of course, it's going to be approved if the other stuff is approved, but the Iconoclast it's still cool if you like this, and the fact that it's a cleric means that the subclass doesn't need to be amazing, because the cleric is just amazing. College of the Streets. Whenever I see that and then I see a girl on screen, unfortunately, I think about all those YouTube videos and stuff, and they're like, "She's for the streets." But she was cool. I know a guy is just a really great ability, and it gives homage to a very fun house rule a lot of DMs use. The rain feature is also really nice. The Courier is straight up attack on Titan fighter who can make a zip line down in late game to in later stages of the game for your allies. It is extremely awesome. It is extremely effective, and it is my favorite subclass in the book. And I'd love to see somebody play it. The Spectre, the artwork checks out. It's very appropriate. See through walls, jump in and out of people's body, Matrix style. Very cool. Oath of Defiance, it's alright. It's very, very spell slot intensive for a class that just wants to smite. And some of the features aren't that great. And rules is written, it can get a little bonkers with if people are trying to break the game with AC. You can break the game fairly easy with AC. This is the subclass that's like, hey, let's break the game. Though if you respect your DM, hopefully you're not the person that would do that. On our server, the shield spell is nerfed appropriately. Outlaw leaves a lot to be desired. Whenever I go into any product, I see Ranger and I want to love it. I want to be like, man, this is the most best Ranger ever. Unfortunately, leaves a lot to be desired. It has the tools to get the feeling of the Outlaw successfully, but it doesn't. None of those tools are very great. A Phantom, my second favorite subclass in this book, and God, is it good. This is so good. And not in a way that it's busted. It's just good because of what it does to capture the theme, how it uses spells in a way that they're not spells, but it replicates them. Its mobility, its balance. This thing is perfect. And if I wasn't a fighter first person, as that's my favorite class, fighter and ranger, this would probably be my favorite. The Anarch is really cool. It's able to literally plug bombs into allies and enemies and have them explode, which I now realize is stackable. So even though the damage is negligible, it can quickly become a problem. The Revolution Warlock, all around, very great concept, very proficient use of its features and abilities, and can reliably access them. Also, it doesn't drain your spell slots. And it gives you some more stuff to do instead of just Eldritch Blast. Though you'll still be Eldritch Blasting mostly. I actually like the Informant. I'm not a huge fan of familiar-based classes, but I think the Informant's really cool. And 1000% gets the theme correct. That's it for the classes. The spells, I don't know if I'll be offering the spells. I know one of the subclasses specifically uses a spell, so I'll probably look at that one. But if you want to look at the spells, you can look at it. I'm just gonna go past it though. I'll go slow though, so you can see it. Or take a screenshot or pause the video. The spells are one of the hardest things to balance in the game is spells. Like even this right here is pretty like, if they succeed, it's so charmed. Charmed creatures can't take an offensive action against you, so even though it's a second level spell slot, guaranteeing that creature cannot take an offensive, and that's on the success. So even a legendary resistance, the only thing protecting is immunity against charmed. This is way too strong. Like the blinded condition against just you is, it doesn't matter. You almost want them to succeed, which is weird. Again, this came out before Tasha, so there's a better Conjure Undead spell in Tasha's. Though Conjure Ooze is very appropriate for anime. Glen Cloak's pretty cool. Grove Guardian. Oh, power word live. That's actually pretty cool. All right, that's that. Again, I'm probably not going to have the spells be used, so I'm not too worried about the spells. Radiant Guard, Venomous Shrag, Victory Cry. I will look at the feats, because feats are always something I'm interested in potentially adding to the game, so especially for a game like our JRPG. Battleborn. So it's a half feat, meaning that it increases its stat. This is Strength or Dex. You learn the Blade Ward cantrip and the Magic Weapon spell, which you can cast as innate spells without the use of material components. Innate usually means at will. You can cast Magic Weapon once without expending a spell slot. Then immediately it's like, not innate. Once you cast it in this way, you can't cast it again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast this spell using spell slots you have at the appropriate level. The maximum number of hit dice you can spend to cast a spell and the maximum level of the spell slots equal to your proficiency bonus. Blade Ward's garbage. I'm not sure about. Maybe I'm missing something, but I mean, it's a half feat, but I'm not too sure about Battleborn. There isn't. Yes, sir, but I may have done that for some of my JRPG NPCs. Some of them have, almost all the humanoids have a defeat and victory condition that relies on a skill check. So you can persuade or intimidate them into victory or defeat, which is funny. No, which is another reason I don't like to nitpick source books. You know, the Obsidian Guard is for the Obsidian Guard, and it's not changed anywhere else. And we don't use that source book. If it is an overall use for everything, then it'll be in the house rule section, like the shield has now become. Which I do have fears I'll use this book and have to answer a lot of questions about what's usable or not. But ultimately, I think just the spell section won't be usable. I don't know if you guys can see Worth in Battleborn. I could easily be missing it. Burn Bright. And creature strength and charisma score by 1. So another half feat. Are they all half feats? No, it doesn't look like it. You learn to produce Flame Cantrip and the Burning Hand spell, which you can cast as innate spells without the use of material components. You can cast, I guess innate, what they use innate here is like, you have these spells in your spell list, it doesn't count against your limitations and all that good stuff. Cast Burning Hands once without spell slot, and then again using spells. And then it also lets you use hit dice for spellcasting, which is very, very unique. Which is probably cool. Maximum level spell slots, equal proficiency bonus, yada yada yada. The concept of hit dice spellcasting is cool. Though I like that more with, like, if it was blood magic, like, you gotta use your hit dice to cast these spells that are slightly stronger than spells at their respective level. Which I've seen in my Grim Hollow stuff on Tuesday and Thursday nights. They have blood magic that uses hit dice in addition to the spell slot. But all of those blood magic spells are pretty nasty. Dream Touched. Wisdom, Intelligence, Minor Illusion, Sleep. Once for free. Hit dice, regular spell slots. Okay, so these are all the same. Battleborn, Burn Bright, Dream Touch. You get a cantrip, you get a spell. You can use spell slots or hit dice to cast them. And then there's a maximum amount of times you can do it, or alternative uses. So that's cool. So that's the format for those three. Elemental Ascendant. So this is not a half feat, I don't think. Oh no, it is. It's just spaced differently. The ability casts at least one spell. Your affinity with your chosen element strengthens you, allowing you to fuse it with magic. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. When you gain this feat, choose one of the following damage types: Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Thunder, which is the absorb element stuff. That's just all the elemental types. Whenever you cast a spell that deals damage using a spell slot of first level higher, you may use the chosen damage type in place of the spell's usual damage type. So again, this came out before Tasha's. Now we have a meta magic that lets you change damage type and a subclass that lets you change damage type. But this is cool because this is available to any caster. So if an enemy is immune to fire damage or resistant, you can change it to acid or cold, or lightning or thunder, stuff like that. And it's a half feat, so it might be worth picking up just to circumvent your opponent's defenses very reliably. And it's any spell, so it's your cantrips. Your fire bolts are now frozen bolts. Your fire bolts are now lightning bolts, thunder bolts, acid bolts. So it's cool. Oh, it does use the spell slot. Okay, never mind. Let's see. Whenever you cast a spell that deals damage, well, it says whenever, so you can switch it out. But of course, it's when you set it up. So I'm not sure if it's now permanently in that or just a one cast thing. I guess that leaves it for interpretation. But since I'm reading a lot of content, I'm admittedly not like digging into the text, the verbiage too hard. But it does provide a little bit of flexibility. Also, it's really cool to be able to drop like a fireball and it be a cold ball, or everyone knows lightning bolt's inferior because it's a line. Now you've got a lightning bolt fireball, which is cool. I think the flexibility it affords and the fact that it's a half feat mean that you're still able to make your 19th spellcasting stat at 20 or your 17 or anything, rounding it out is nice. I don't know if it is feat worthy, but I could see some people picking it up for that flexibility. Elemental Mastery, 5th level. Oh, you need the Elemental Ascendant feat. So if this thing is bonkers, then it might be worth getting this thing that's also really great. Your mastery of your chosen element grows, giving you fine control over your magic and your enemies. Oh yeah, it's when you gain this feat, so you're right about that. You stick to the one, it's not whenever. So that might make it weaker, but you could permanently slot in cold in place of fire or lightning. If you want to min-max, probably thunder is probably the most optimal one. Alright, your mastery over a chosen element grows. Whenever you cast a spell slot using a spell slot at first level or higher that deals damage, you can change its damage type using Elemental Ascendant. You can inflict one or more creatures, the damage with the additional effect. So based on the damage type, you're getting an additional effect based on this list here. So if you chose cold, you're getting the cold effect, acid. Let's see. Acid. As your spell sizzles around the target, acidic fumes choke and sear it. The creature must make a Constitution saving throw or be poisoned. Cold, the spell encases the target in a layer of rime, restricting its movements. The creature must make a strength saving throw or be restrained. Fire, your spell sets the target aflame. The creature must make a dexterity saving throw or catch fire. D6 every turn until it's an action to put it out. Very potent. So is the restrained one. Lightning, your spell surges through the target, leaving it to shock to act, a con save, or they lose their reaction. Thunder, your spell saves the target off balance and discombobulates it. It's so funny, I rarely see that word used in text, discombobulates, and it's such a fun word. The creature must make a strength save throw or fall prone. Takes 2 feats to get here. I think someone that is playing like a very elemental based character, which are half the sorcerer subclasses, may feel like it's worth it. Variant human for the first one. Elemental mastery. It's funny enough, you can't get it until 5th level, which is very important because what that really means is you can't get this feat till 8th level. Unless you're a fighter for some reason who gets another feat at 6th level. So I probably should have just said 8th level here. Or 6th level. Because no one's going to be able to pick this up at 5th level. And every single caster class in the game won't have an opportunity to pick it up until 8th level. Grand Summoner. Creatures you summon with your conjuration spells are imbued with magical enhancements, granting them awesome powers. When you cast a conjuration spell, for duration of concentration summons one creature, it receives the following. The summoned creature gains a number of temporary hit points equal to your character level. As you cast a spell, you may cast a second spell 5th level or lower with a casting time of 1 action that can target yourself on the summoned creature. Using a spell slot of a lower level than yours. If the second spell can target multiple creatures, it only affects the summoned creature. So like personal bless it and stuff. If the second spell requires concentration, you can concentrate it as part of concentrating on the original spell. Okay, so it has to be of a spell slot lower than you cast. So you won't be able to like be a 3rd level character with now access to 5th level spell through this workaround. So if you cast a 3rd level spell, you can put a 1st level bless, stuff like that. It converts it to single target, and if it's doubling up on concentration, it's allowing you to dual concentrate as if it was 1 concentration. So stuff like that is cool. Interceptor. Your specialty is running interference, getting in your enemy's way, and keeping your allies out of harm's way. Strength, con, max 20. Half feet. Are they all half feats? No, this is the first 2 that are not half feats. When a friendly creature you can see within your reach is attacked, you can use your reaction to move up to half your speed into an unoccupied space adjacent to the creature without provoking opportunity attacks, and change the target of that attack to you if you're within that target's range. If the attacker is already within your reach, you can use your reaction to shove the attacker. So this is before we get that fighting style that does damage reduction. But since it straight up can make you the target of the attack, that's nice. This is very useful for anyone that wants to play a defender class. I don't know if it's better than just taking a fighting style instead of dedicating yourself to a feat. But that fighting style reduces damage by a really good amount, but since they both use your reaction, they won't work together. So that's that. Let's see here. Another half feet intelligence base. You gain proficiency in Arcana, History, Investigation, Nature, Religion. As an action, to make an intelligence check against a DC equal to 10 plus the challenge rating of a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. If you're proficient in either the same list, add your proficiency bonus depending on the creature's type. We kind of have a house rule in the server that this looks like it's trying to copy. If you succeed on the check, you know one of the creature's resistances, vulnerabilities, or anything. Alright, so I'm going to skip this one. Because unfortunately, we have a free house rule in the server tied to proficiency that can yield the information this provides. So for us, it's not that great. But for a regular person, the fact that this is a half feat, it's really great informational skill that can be very great to those tables if they don't have the house rule we use. Which, if you guys don't know, I have a recall knowledge stolen from Pathfinder that I use on my server, where folks can use a bonus action to scry almost all this information. Martial training. You learn 2 maneuvers versus the 1 maneuver you get in that one Tasha's feat, which may include maneuvers presented in the maneuvers section of this book. So those are fighter maneuvers. If it has a prerequisite, you must meet it. You get a number of superiority dice equal to proficiency bonus. So this is better than the Tasha one. It's okay. I felt like the Tasha one wasn't that strong, which is surprising since almost everything in that book is overpowered. A die is expended when you use it, and you regain all of them, short, long rest, yada yada yada. Same growth and everything. Whenever you gain a level, you may replace one maneuver DC. Okay, so it's just the fighter, the Battlemaster package light. Which could be cool for rogues, barbarians if they want to dip into it, or if the fighter wants more maneuvers. I think it's pretty solid, and it's definitely superior than the one we have now. Silver Tongue. Intelligence Charisma. You learn the Friends cantrip, the Charmed Person cantrip, innately 1. So this is the hit dice formula. You can use your hit dice, you can use your spell slots to continue to cast this spell, limited by your proficiency bonus. Temporal Adept. Intelligence or dexterity increase. Guidance, Longstrider. Same thing. So, this person who made this book came up with this formula and pretty much tied it into like 6 different feats. Which is okay. It doesn't mean it's bad. But it does mean that whenever we see this, it's a cantrip, a spell, can use spell slots for it in addition to the 1 freebie or hit dice. Unbreakable. And they apparently like half feats, which are way less common than normal feats in 5e. You learn resistance and false life. Okay, so same thing. You gain the resistance cantrip, false life cantrip, spell slots, 1 freebie, hit dice. Okay. I don't know how I feel about the feat section. Some of it felt a little underwhelming. Some of it felt fine. But I think that all of this would probably be good to include. Oh, and that's true. If dipping is allowed, you can technically get the 5th level prerequisite. Alright, so we're almost done, folks. We've got more maneuvers for Battle Masters, or if you pick up the feat in this book, which is better than the feat that's not in this book. Momentum Charge. Move 20 feet on your turn. End your movement adjacent to an enemy. It's important to say that it ends, so you can't continue your movement. You can add your superiority die to the damage roll of the attack. This attack ignores resistance to the damage type. Okay, that's very interesting. Oh, that's legit. This is a legit fighting style. For a second, I had this mindset for a moment that we were still reviewing feats, and I was like, this isn't worth spending a feat for, even if that last sentence is pretty strong in the early game. But it's just a battle master maneuver, so this is legit. Muscle Thru. When you make a strength athletics, dexterity acrobatic check, or constitution saving throw to maintain concentration on a spell, you can expend superiority die and add it to your roll. That's really odd. Or con to maintain concentration. Okay, I was like, wait a second. You can't use that for concentration. Man. Really cool. You can become a grapple god. You can break through grapples. Um, Acrobatics has other implications, of course. And then just for maintaining concentration, if you maybe are multi-class or if you're an Eldritch Knight and you pick up the Battlemaster feat, this could be nice. Wall Run. Into the dash action, you can spend a superior die to gain a climb speed equal to your walking speed until the end of your turn. In addition, you add your superior die as bonus to your AC. That's crazy. You must end your turn on the surface you stand on or you fall. Just throwing in that AC bonus is pretty crazy. Oh, you know, you're dashing on your turn, so. I'm always hesitant with AC. I think AC is one of the worst things that 5e fucked up. If someone wants to abuse AC, they can do so very easily, and it just gets nasty pretty fast. As a reaction, when you attack, you can expend a superior die and add a bonus to your AC against triggering attack. Then up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. At the end of this movement, you may choose to drop prone. Dark Souls combat roll. AC only against triggering attacks, so that's fine even if it's strong. Struggle for survival. If you make a death saving throw, you can expend a superior die to grant yourself advantage on the save. If you succeed in the saving throw, you gain a number of hit points equal to your... That's fucking awesome. Wow. This is almost great if it was a feat with different verbiage, but for a fighting maneuver, being able to just get back in the fight, because you have advantage, so you just need to get a 10 or higher on your death save, which doesn't factor in things like if you're blessed, because that's a saving throw still, Paladin's Aura. Any form of success gives you back on your feet with your superiority die number of hit points. This is almost a guaranteed grab for people who are going to be battle masters or pick up maneuvers. And I'm still not against it. It's more playtime. The person gets back into the fight. Committed a soft resource for it. Definitely powerful. But for our anime JRPG vibes, noise. Granite Chin. As a bonus action, you can spend a superiority die to grant yourself resistance to non-magical slashing, buzzing, and piercing. In addition, you gain temporary hit points equal to the die in your combat. Cool. Very simple. Very useful in certain stages of the game. Yeah, absolutely a bit worse because of house exhaustion rules, which have gotten a bit better. I don't know if you got a chance to review them live. It's been a while since you've been in my campaign, but we use the 1D&D version instead now. So if you get a point of exhaustion, it's just -1 to all D20 test rolls instead of instantly being shit on ability checks. So definitely review those if you haven't. But yeah, definitely a little more rougher on our server. Granite Chin's alright. Granite Chin's solid. Yeah, max of 9, down 10, yeah. Knight's Move. As a bonus action, you may expend a superior die to move exactly 15 feet. This movement does not provoke opportunity attacks. You can move through enemies this way, but you must end this movement adjacent to an enemy. You can add your superior die to the damage you deal on your next attack against an enemy this turn. So it's 15 feet, safe movement. Thematically, you're getting the Knight's advancement. Forward! Extra damage. All around, decent. Really great repositioning tool that rewards your next damage attack if you hit this turn. Oh, I'm getting King's Castle, Knight's Move. I'm almost sad that we're not getting other stuff too. As a bonus action, expend a superiority die. Choose a friendly creature within 30 feet of you who is not currently within the enemy's reach. That creature may use a reaction to move up to 20 feet, no opportunity attack, end a turn adjacent. With you and that creature, add your superiority die as bonus to your AC until the start of your turn. Really strong whenever we get to D8, +8 armor class at the start of your next turn. Compatible with rules as written shields. Is a single superiority die that's a short rest resource. Pretty strong. Fight dirty. It is cool though that we're seeing all these really cool prerequisites. Now you gotta put in a tiny bit of work to make use out of some of these battle master maneuvers, which I believe is true for the regular ones for the most part, but is on every single one of these. It's a bonus action, expend a superiority die. I just said that one. When an enemy you see within 20 feet, you makes an attack roll. Use the superiority die as a reaction to distract it, throwing its aim off. The enemy takes a penalty to the attack of the triggering equal to your superiority die, causing it to potentially miss. It's reverse AC. It's also very strong, but since it's against one attack, that's what keeps it balanced versus keeping a potential +8 armor class to your next turn. When you hit a hostile creature with a weapon attack, you can expend a superiority die to attack under its guard. Also, later levels, potential +12. Oh god. You add your superiority die to damage to any return that enemy's AC is reduced by 1. Cool. Next move on the paladin. Lead the way. When you hit a hostile creature with a weapon attack, you can expend a superiority die to spur your allies towards it. You can add your superiority die to the damage roll. Each friendly creature within 15 feet of you that can hear you can use your reaction to move half the speed the creature you hit without provoking opportunity attacks. So a lot of these are like movement based, which I'm cool. It's Battlemaster maneuvers. You're supposed to be controlling the battlefield. And this one requires you to be attacking with a weapon, which honestly, even though a lot of these feel like they want you to be using melee weapons, this one could be like a longbow and stuff like that. Bolstering Call. When a friendly creature within 30 feet of you that you can see can hear you is forced to make Wisdom or Charisma saving throw by a hostile creature, expend a superiority die, grant that creature advantage on the save. Okay, so protection from Wisdom and Charisma saves, advantage 30 feet. If it saves, it can add this superiority die to its next weapon attack against the creature that forced it to make an attack. This is a lot of triggering conditions, but it's still very solid. Since Wisdom and Charisma are some of the most crippling effects in the game, extend from those saving throws. You're welcome, sir. I don't mind. So if you like this product, you can pick it up for $7 on the DMG. Codex Fantasia Dominus Duodecim, quite the name. It is fairly balanced. Some of the spells need to be checked. Some of the subclasses need to be slightly revised. But ultimately, for a product that came out 4 years ago, before the Power Creep of Tasha, it's pretty solid. And I will be implementing this into my Song of Saltmarsh as an option for my Sunday and Wednesday campaigns that are starting up soon. Thank you for watching this with me. I look forward to playing with you in the future or potentially streaming other reviews I make as I look through more products for my campaigns. Everyone have a good day. I'll see some of you tonight. I'll see others on the horizon. Let me see if this stream ending button works. It's been a while since I streamed.